We are always chasing something: self improvement, success, the next best version of ourselves. But have we all fallen for the same lie? The one that glorifies ambition, convincing us if we stop, even for a moment, we'll be left behind.
I just want to be perfect.
Open any app, scroll, younger, richer, prettier, traveling, dating, winning, more, and more. And here you are, lying in your room wondering if you'll ever amount to anything. That dissatisfaction seeps into your soul and every corner of your life. And just like that, you are drowning in the sea of self-help, locked in, grinding non-stop. No life outside the work you swear is for you. This is what you needed, right? Push hard enough and maybe, just maybe, someday you'll finally feel worthy of happiness. Hollywood is packed with stories about ambition, whether it's about the rewards or the pitfalls of chasing it. Though there are hundreds of films about ambition, two films that come to mind when thinking about the horrors of ambition are Black Swan and Whiplash. Nina Sayers spirals into madness in pursuit of one fleeting moment of perfection, while Andrew endures extreme emotional and physical pain to deliver the greatest performance of his life. In their final moments of victory, their parents look on in horror, not in appreciation, I believe, realizing they have lost their children to ambition. If ambition is a neoliberal lie, then what's the alternative? Kamorabi is a Japanese word for the play of sunlight through leaves. There is no exact English translation for this word, because it also means taking joy in the simple act of watching the fleeting dance of light and shadows. One of my favorite things about springtime here is that there is Kamorabi everywhere, and it's a quiet source of satisfaction for the protagonist of Perfect Days. Hirayama is a toilet cleaner living in Tokyo. He wakes up smiling, tends to his plants, gazes at the sky, listens to music on cassette tapes, works with quiet devotion, takes photographs with his vintage camera, unwinds, reads, and dreams. To most people, this lifestyle might seem dull and unfulfilling, but Hirayama is surprisingly content. I know finding happiness and contentment in a low income bracket in this economy sounds unrealistic, but that's not true. I know someone who is just like Hirayama. Our high school English teacher. It's always the English teacher, right? Anyway, I went to a government high school. And if you know anything about Pakistani government schools, they are the worst. Teachers here are super lazy and irresponsible, but our English teacher, he was super sincere with his job, man. And he even went overboard with it. That man must be earning $200 per month, but the level of contentment on his face was just unparalleled. And this man had a beautiful smile on his face, and you could tell he was genuinely a happy person. I met him a few years after finishing high school, and he was like, "Ibrahim, go get your metric certificate." And I was like, "Man, how do you remember my name? I only attended 3 of your classes." I grew up in a culture where boredom, rest, and hobbies are vilified. Going to the gym and reading fiction are considered waste of time. During school, I sacrificed everything to study. And later, when I got into self improvement, I quit watching movies, gave up my hobbies, and didn't even try reading fiction even though I wanted to, because I thought it was a waste of time. At that time, I was also running a mildly successful content agency, which I hated, but it was making me good money, so I felt trapped and unhappy. That all changed the day I picked up my first fiction book. I tore through it in one sitting, Nazia Hassan playing softly on vinyl in the background. For the first time in ages, I felt pure joy, a feeling I never found in the endless grind of a 150-page self-help book. It reignited my passion for filmmaking and storytelling. That was the day I decided to quit the agency and start creating content. But I want to make a distinction here. Ambition itself isn't inherently bad. If your ambition is something that comes from within, something that makes you lose track of time and feel like a kid again, it can be life-changing. But most people ends up chasing someone else's ambition, someone else's version of perfect life. and they get stuck in routines they despise, clinging to the hope that happiness waits at the end of the tunnel. But what if there is no light at the end of the tunnel? When I was running that content agency, I was miserable. But I told myself that I would do everything that made me happy after I achieve everything. I was postponing my happiness, constantly living for a future that felt out of reach. But again, what if there is no light at the end of the tunnel? What if you feel empty after achieving everything, and you miss countless beams of lights in the process of constant grinding? As Vijayanand said, Hammurabi nicely highlights the point that very often in our mindless pursuit of the light at the end of the tunnel, we fail to recognize many little beams of light that have already passed by. One of the reasons Hirayama seems content is mindfulness. I know mindfulness is often marketed as a productivity hack or a cure-all in the self-help world, but it's more than that. It's simply the act of being present and conscious in your life, noticing the beauty around you through nature, friendships, relationships, and art. It's in moments like Hammurabi. But mind you, pun intended, mindfulness doesn't guarantee constant happiness. You would still face hardships, heartbreaks, and problems, just like the fleeting dance of light and shadows. What mindfulness does is help you stay grounded in every situation. It makes you think, it makes you pause, and it helps you solve problems with a fresh perspective rather than falling into old familiar patterns. The ending of Perfect Days is a bit vague, leaving you to wonder whether Hirayama is truly content. There is a Japanese concept called kagami, a mirror. Hirayama's character acts as a mirror to our own perspectives. He doesn't speak much in the film, nor is there any narration. We as viewers become the narrators, interpreting his life through our own lens. It's similar to the myth of Sisyphus. While most philosophers saw Sisyphus' fate as a curse, Albert Camus found beauty in the mundane and difficult act of pushing the boulder uphill. He thought Sisyphus was in fact happy. So, is Hirayama happy? That's up to you to decide. For me, the answer is yes. I personally find satisfaction in simple moments, like reading a good book over a cup of tea, listening to music, spending time with my friends, morning rides, and making these YouTube videos. So figure out what truly makes you happy instead of living by someone else's story. Yeah, even though sometimes when you are following your true passion, it's easy to fall into the traps of the algorithm, if you know what I mean. So what I would say is don't chase external validation, find it within yourself. Step outside the cages of worry and judgment. Let go of the need to control everything and simply be. There's nothing you need to do except simply be.